The glittering lights of the five-star hotel shimmered through the night like stars fallen to earth. Inside, the marble floors gleamed, and the soft hum of luxury whispered promises of indulgence and secrecy. He thought he had orchestrated the perfect escape, a moment away from the routines of his marriage and the responsibilities of his life. His heart raced, not from excitement, but from the thrill of forbidden adventure. She was there, smiling coyly, expecting the grandeur and anonymity that only places like this could provide. He felt a smug sense of control as he led her through the lavish lobby, past chandeliers dripping like crystal waterfalls, straight into the elevator that would take them to a private suite. He imagined the night would unfold as planned, that no one would ever know, that he could slip back into his comfortable life, untouched, undisturbed. But life, as it often does, had a cruel sense of irony waiting for him. Before we continue, if you believe in the power of kindness, second chances, and life's unexpected twists, don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe to our channel, because this story will touch your heart in ways you can't imagine. He barely noticed the details at first, the subtle aroma of fresh flowers in the lobby, the soft strains of piano music drifting from the lounge, the quiet elegance of every polished surface. His mind was entirely consumed by the thrill of what was about to happen, the intoxicating sense of getting away with something. The woman beside him laughed lightly, brushing her hand against his, and he felt a surge of foolish pride. This was it, the perfect night, the perfect escape. Or so he thought. The elevator doors opened, and he led her into the suite, the space filled with opulence, silk sheets, a panoramic view of the city skyline, and a warm glow from the bedside lamps. He let out a breath he hadn't realized he was holding, but before he could take another step, a sound froze him in place, the soft click of high heels against marble, a sound he knew better than his own heartbeat. He turned slowly, expecting perhaps a hotel employee, maybe another guest, and his blood ran cold. Standing there, framed by the doorway, was his wife. But this was not the woman he thought he knew, the timid, reserved partner of his public life. This was a woman transformed, confident, poised, and radiating a strength he had never truly appreciated. She wasn't just visiting the hotel, she owned it. The sign behind her subtly displayed her name in polished gold letters, the Wilson Grand, owned and operated by Eleanor Wilson. His mind struggled to process the image, to reconcile the woman he had underestimated for years with the force of authority standing before him. For a moment, no words passed. The silence was thick, electric, heavy with the weight of revelation and guilt. He had come here seeking pleasure, but now he was trapped in the most humiliating confrontation of his life. Every lie, every deception, every careless decision seemed to crash down upon him at once. The mistress, sensing the tension, glanced between them, her excitement draining into unease. She didn't know what to do, how to react, but he couldn't move, couldn't even speak. His perfect night had turned into a nightmare, and he was the architect of his own downfall. Eleanor's eyes, calm yet piercing, met his. There was no anger in the first moment, no shouting, no immediate drama. Instead, there was an almost surgical precision in her gaze, a quiet command that silenced the room. He felt exposed in a way that no private shame could have ever accomplished alone. The power dynamic had shifted instantly, completely. He realized that the woman he had taken for granted, the one he had underestimated and deceived, was far more capable and far more unyielding than he had imagined. The mistress, now painfully aware of the social chasm she had stumbled into, tried to shrink back, whisper apologies. But Eleanor's presence made them feel hollow, insignificant. The realization hit him harder than any physical blow could. He had spent years seeking excitement outside the home, failing to see the depth, intelligence, and resilience of the woman who had stood by him through financial setbacks, personal struggles, and the mundanity of life's daily grind. And now, she had not only surpassed him but was confronting him on her own terms, in a place he had never anticipated. He stammered, searching for words for some semblance of control, but Eleanor's poise did not waver. She stepped fully into the room, her heels echoing on the polished floor, and in that moment, he felt smaller than he had ever felt. The contrast between her confidence and his shame was almost unbearable. He had assumed that his secrecy, his cunning, had placed him ahead. He had believed that charm and manipulation could outweigh character and perseverance. Now, standing in the glow of the hotel suite, he understood the bitter reality. Arrogance and infidelity are powerless in the face of genuine strength and determination. Eleanor didn't yell or make accusations. She didn't need to. Her ownership of the space, her effortless authority, spoke louder than any words. The mistress, sensing the power imbalance, gathered her belongings quickly, muttering apologies, and left with the kind of hurried retreat that only shame and fear can summon. He was left alone with Eleanor, alone with the undeniable truth of his failures. And yet, in that quiet, tense moment, there was something else, a spark of something he hadn't expected. Respect. Not for him, but for the woman who had rebuilt her life, who had claimed her power without malice, without vengeance, without letting bitterness define her. In the following days, he tried to process what had happened. He couldn't stop thinking about Eleanor, not as a wife he had betrayed, but as a person who had transcended the life he had tried to dominate. He watched her conduct the hotel with an elegance and intelligence that left him in awe. She wasn't just a business owner, she was a leader, a force, someone who had transformed personal pain into professional triumph. He realized the depth of his mistakes, the years wasted in self-indulgence and disrespect, and the opportunities he had squandered to truly understand and cherish her. It was not easy for him to confront his own failings. Pride, shame, and regret warred within him. He had been so used to getting what he wanted, so accustomed to manipulating situations to his advantage, that humility was foreign, even uncomfortable. But he began to see that reconciliation was possible only if he could strip away the layers of ego and deception, if he could approach Eleanor not as a man seeking forgiveness, but as someone genuinely committed to understanding, to growth, and to support. The journey toward redemption was slow. Eleanor, though initially guarded, noticed subtle changes in his behavior, his willingness to listen without defensiveness, his sincere efforts to contribute meaningfully to the business, and his gradual acknowledgement of her achievements without envy or resentment. There were moments of tension, moments where old habits threatened to resurface, but Eleanor's steadiness, her calm confidence, provided a mirror in which he could see himself honestly for the first time. One evening, after months of rebuilding trust, he accompanied her on a routine inspection of the hotel's newest renovations. Walking through the gleaming halls, watching her interact with staff with warmth, firmness, and a quiet humor, he felt a profound sense of gratitude. He had come dangerously close to losing not just his marriage, but the respect and admiration of a woman who had been underestimated for far too long. He understood that love and partnership were not possessions to be taken for granted, but living, evolving connections that demanded attention, empathy, and integrity. Eleanor, sensing the reflection in his eyes, smiled, not with triumph, but with compassion. She had faced betrayal and disappointment, yet she had chosen resilience over revenge, empowerment over bitterness. That realization struck him with full force. He had been blind to the strength that had always existed in their shared life. The mistake he had made, the moment he thought indulgence outside their marriage could give him happiness, had in fact been a catalyst for growth, for perspective, for awakening. In the weeks that followed, he dedicated himself to being present in ways he had never been before. He supported Eleanor's ventures, celebrated her victories, and faced his own flaws with an honesty that was, at times, painful but necessary. The shadow of that fateful night never fully disappeared, but it became a guide rather than a burden, a reminder that life has a way of humbling those who presume to take more than they give, and elevating those who rise above resentment, bitterness, and anger. The hotel, now thriving under Eleanor's leadership, became a symbol of transformation, not just for her, but for their relationship. They learned to navigate their lives with newfound respect, understanding, and shared purpose. The incident that could have destroyed everything instead became a turning point, a testament to the power of resilience, humility, and the human capacity for change. If this story moved you, if it reminded you that even the gravest mistakes can lead to growth and second chances, please engage with this video. Like, comment, and share it with someone who needs to hear that life can turn around when strength, courage, and kindness guide the way. And before you go, leave a comment sharing the moment in the story that touched you the most. Your thoughts mean the world. In the end, he learned the hard way that no amount of charm or secrecy can outshine integrity, and no fleeting pleasure can replace the profound, enduring strength of someone who refuses to be diminished. Eleanor had taken what could have been devastation and transformed it into triumph. And he, finally humbled, learned to appreciate the extraordinary gift he had taken for granted, the love, intelligence, and indomitable spirit of his wife. That night in the hotel, which had begun as a moment of selfish indulgence, became the catalyst for a story of redemption, respect, and a marriage reborn, not through luck, but through courage, accountability, and the unwavering resolve of a woman who knew her worth.